I said, a stocking for Halloween? No, I want to wear these. That'd be really cute, but I want to wear these. Hold on, I have to yawn. But it's like a little bit clear that it's maybe possibly like a cash grab. But again, I'm sitting here eating it up. Do I care? No, because what does it mean? More Percy. So, yeah. Hello everyone, welcome back. If you're new here or if you just need a refresher, I'm Ollie and I'm the one-woman show behind the Walleeze channel. And in case you haven't figured it out already, I like to talk a lot about anything really, but especially my hobbies, which is exactly what led me to make this YouTube channel and subsequently this podcast. So that way I can just go on and on and on talking into the void about my interests and what I'm working on that week, and hopefully somebody with a similar interest finds it entertaining or just to find some enjoyment in it along the way. Also, I think it's good to show a beginner knitter just kind of flying by the seat of her pants and making mistakes and not really knowing what she's doing. This is not a space to teach. I'm not here to teach. We're here to bond. You're here to watch me fail and get things right and hopefully get them more right than wrong. But we'll see. Doesn't look good this week. So we're back with podcast episode number 4. And if you were watching last week's podcast, you noticed that I alluded to some tragedy, and we're going to get into that today. So let's just get right into it, shall we? Because I've got both simultaneously not a lot of progress and a ton of progress to show you guys. So first up is finished objects. I've got none. Well, I don't call it a finished object, because if I call it a finished object, then it won't motivate me to do the second one. So it's half of a finished object. I'll explain more in a little bit. But technically, I'm not counting that there's any finished objects. But I'll explain in more detail very soon. Okay. So I'm going to say I've got none. So let's just move right on to whips, shall we? Okay. So moving right into works in progress. I'm just going to go ahead and breeze right past my Salty Days sweater, which is the Salty Days sweater by Kudo Wakika or Veronica Lindbergh. It got no work done this week. I'll explain why in a second, but it got no work done this week. It's kind of in a hibernation, not for long because it does still have a deadline of November 27th. So, it's not going to be in hibernation for long, but it's kind of there, just sitting down in the corner until I can get back to it, until I meet this current deadline. But that has been on the needles for 45 days. So, we're just going to move right on into the star of today's show, okay? So, let me grab my mic. Let's get comfy, shall we? Let me turn this down a little so I can hold you a little bit closer, a little bit more intimate, you know what I mean? Because, let's explain. If you've been watching the last 2 podcasts, you'll have seen that I've been working on the jack-o'-lantern socks by Renard and Dormy, because I came up with the brilliant plan on October something that I wanted these for Halloween. So I thought to myself, you know, I've knit socks in 2 weeks. I can do it again. So having never knit any of Renard and Dormy's other patterns, I decided, yeah, let's just jump right into it. And I have the terrible habit of not swatching in socks. So that will come into play later, and that'll bite me in the butt later, as not swatching usually does, you know what I mean? So I decided jack-o'-lantern socks, Renard and Dormy, perfect. Went online, bought the yarn, dropped Fabelle in the colors rust, apple green, and brown. Fabulous. It came in a little bit later than I would have liked it to, but I was like, got it, I'll just start right away. So I started as soon as I could, and I started making progress. And if you remember that very first podcast that I mentioned the jack-o'-lantern socks, I mentioned how I messed up on the ribbing, and I didn't care enough to go back and fix it. Omen number 1. I ignored it and I kept on knitting. And the way Renard and Dormy's patterns work, as many patterns do, colorwork patterns do, is that before you reach the colorwork, you do a series of increases to help match up like the number of stitches to the repeat needed. The pattern repeat to the stitches needed. Like if your repeat is 3 stitches, I'm just making up numbers. If your repeat is 3 stitches and you have 11 stitches on your needle, you need to increase 1 so that way you can have an even number. So Renard and Dormy had us do a set of increases, and I thought to myself, this is kind of a lot of increases, but okay. Now in socks, I am very consistently the middle size, so I, without a doubt, cast on her middle size, 64 stitches. But then we increased to make the correct amount of stitches appropriate for this repeat, and we ended up with 84 stitches. And I said to myself, this is kind of a lot. But we're gonna keep on trucking. We're gonna keep on trucking, and we're just gonna, we're just not gonna be so frilly about, I don't know, messing with our tension, loosening our tension, keeping our floats and tension nice and loose in the color work. We're just not going to worry about that. We're going to let it naturally tighten itself up, and I think it'll compensate perfectly. So I kept on knitting, and I kept on knitting, and I kept on knitting. And I got to the point, podcast number 3, where I filmed. I was just about to work on the heel. And later that night, I went to go work on the heel. I finished the heel, and I went to go try it on. My very first time trying it on. And when I tell you this sock did not fit at all, I sat there in a state of denial, saying to myself, it'll fit, it's fine. It's a little loose, but you can make it work. But if I pinched the excess fabric on the sock and I counted, I just sat there in such denial. I'm like at a loss for words. My brain is all jumbled because I sat there and I pinched this extra fabric and I was like, how much do I need to take out? Like, is this something I can like just be conscious of in the rest of the sock, like in the foot of the sock where it really truly needs to fit? Like the top and the leg of the sock, you can kind of have it sag a little, but I was in such denial because when I counted the stitches on that excess fabric, it was wholeheartedly like 20 something stitches. Once I reached 20, I was like, I just need to accept this. I just have to skip the other stages of grief and accept that this is not going to fit. So I sat there staring at my project, and I called my boyfriend and I was like, I have to tear out this sock, don't I? And he's like, yeah. I'm really sorry. And I was sorry too, because a week of work gone, wasted, because I'm on a deadline. That was time wasted. So I undid my whole sock, and it killed me a little inside, and I cast on again. And this time I struggled a little with the sizing down because I was looking at the sizes with increases. Oh, guys, this sock was so big. I kid you not, it would have been large on my boyfriend. It would have fit my freaking dad. Like, this sock was huge. It looked like a freaking stocking. I told my mom and she said, just make it into a stocking. I said, a stocking for Halloween? No, I want to wear these. That'd be really cute, but I want to wear these. So I sat there and I debated about the sizing because the increases were something to take into consideration, because the increases are there specifically for the colorwork portion. Whereas the colorwork portion is solely on the top part of the leg, that's something you can almost ignore, But when your color work is the entire sock like they are for this, that's kind of important. So if I sized down to a size 56, I was like, that's really small. I won't be able to fit into that. But with the increases, it was a 72 stitch count. And I was like, that's too big. So I was at a loss, and I was like, I think I'm just gonna have to take another leap of faith. And so I sized down completely. I sized down completely from a medium to a small, and I started knitting, and I was hoping. And after every single motif, because it's like broken down into chunks, and after every single motif, I tried it on. And it seemed to fit. It seemed to be fine. And I was like, please, please work. And I got to the heel, and now I'm stressed because I've wasted a week of my time. So I'm working my little butt off, right? Like I'm working my little butt off trying to still meet this Halloween deadline, because I started plotting things out, and I was like, I'm gonna have to knit like a third of the sock a day. That's insane. I can't do that. I have homework, I have classes, I have laundry to do, I have meals to cook. I can't do that. But I'm working my little butt off, just fitting in what I can when I can, and I'm doing it. And I got to the heel, and I tried it on, and it was all working, and I finished the foot, and I finished the toe, and it's you know, the pattern originally calls for you to work on 2.25 millimeter needles for the ribbing, the heel, and the toe, and switch up if you need to, which I normally need to, which is exactly what I did, which I know contributed to the fact that this sock was so large. On this second time around, I stuck solely in 2.25 millimeter socks, which I have only done once on my first pair of socks that I ever knit, and they barely got over my heel. Barely. Yeah, it was just, I've been working my little butt off. I've been furiously knitting, trying to catch up. And I mean, this is what I mean by I have half of finished object, because let me put you back down now, because I think close talk time is over. I think now it's time to get back to the normal swing of the podcast, but I just needed you to understand like the tragedy of what had happened. And if any of you guys have ever had to rip back a project that you've made an intense amount of progress on, it's like it breaks you down in here. You know what I mean? I was so defeated that night. I just sat in silence for the rest of the night. I just sat there, and I was like, my spirit's broken. I think my spirit's broken. It was fine 2 days later, as I started like pouring myself into knitting this new sock, but it was broken. And that's all I really need to tell you guys, was just the tragedy and how it broke my spirit. And any of you who have ever had to rip back something like that, you know how it breaks you in here. But let me put you back down so I can show you this sock and the progress that I've made. Thank you for listening. Okay. So now let's show you the progress. Let me move my mic a little. Okay, let's show you the progress that I've made in this sock. So I did finish one sock completely. Let's see if I focus. So I did finish one sock completely. Like I said, Drops Fabelle is a rustic, sticky yarn. So this is not the most pleasant thing to feel in its current state, but I know from experience with Drops Fabelle, I knit I'm blanking on them, but I've knit I think they're called the Sage of Time socks. I don't remember the pattern designer's names. I'll put it on the screen, but I've knit those for my boyfriend in Drops Fabelle before, so I know for a fact that it softens a ton when it blocks out, but like right now it is stiff and bubbly, and color work just doesn't look the cutest when it's not blocked yet. But here it is. I went back, and since I had to go ahead and rip out the whole sock, I just remembered to do the twisted rib now. So my twisted rib, all my details and everything. I used to suck at color work, and I'm so happy with how far I've come in my color work and my tension and just everything. My heels, my German short row heels, I do enjoy doing a German short row heel more than like a heel flap and gusset. I think I said that in last week's podcast, but I am just working on like making that seam. Also, ignore the fact that I was knitting yesterday and I hit my nail in something and the entire nail of nail polish came off. No clue what that was about, but I just need to work on getting the seam, focus on seam, getting the seam a little bit cleaner, especially with things like, can I show you in a way that's not, yeah, there's a little bit of hole right there, just where you connect back and around. That's a lot of tensioning issues, and I hope that will get better with practice, or I'm just not doing something right and I don't know how to fix it. But first sock is done. So I think with that, because I have that first sock done, well, let me also say that this is still a little bit big, because in the color work, like I said, it is a 72 stitch count, and that is still a little bit too big for me, because I'm a 64 stitch girl all the way around. So 72 is still a little bit big for me. It's not aggressively so. I'll put a picture of me wearing it. I have like one picture of me wearing it, and it's not large. It's not like excessively like the last one was. It's just a little bit loose. So maybe what I will do is put this in the dryer for like 10 minutes, just so it can like not felt but just cinch a little, because I have done that. I have put drops of felt in the dryer. It does felt a little, but it does tighten up a little bit too. So I'm hoping I can maybe find like a sweet spot, but it's also not that bad. So one moment. Hold on, I have to fix something with my camera. Okay. So my phone died. My phone was about to die. So if framing or my hair or anything changed, ignore. But we're back. It's charged a little bit. It's enough for me to finish this video. So we'll see. We'll try to do it quickly. Okay. I don't really remember where I was at, but sock number 1 done. Sock number 2 is getting currently worked on. Let me see if I can hold this up. Let's see. There we go. My camera kept focusing on my stitch marker last time. I didn't want it to, but I guess it wants to be the star of the show, so we'll show it. So I have a little ghosty. Oh, now it doesn't want to focus on it, right? I have a little ghosty little stitch marker. So cute. I'll link the shop where I got them, because I got them from this cute little shop, Etsy shop. But yeah, here's the progress that I have on the second sock. With this sock, I was worried with it being too big again, and it's ever so slightly too big. Like I think I said that earlier, that it's not like insane. It's just like a little bit. It's not quite as snug as you would want a sock to be, but that's also the nature of like knit socks, is that they don't have that kind of elastic in them that like store-bought socks do. So I tried to just be even less cautious about monitoring my tension in color work with this pair of socks, the second sock. And this one is almost too tight. Not like insanely so. It can still get over my heel pretty fine, but it's like I think my cast on is a little bit too tight. And I think it's not bad. It's fine. It gets over my heel. I think I just need to be aware of that. Sorry. I think I just need to be aware of that as I'm going through the rest of the sock and trying to keep it a little bit looser, but not like a ton. Who really knows with socks? They're so frustrating but easy, and it's fun, and till they're not, and then it's back and forth, and you're da-da-da-da-da. Point is, these socks, the Jack-o'-lantern socks by Renard and Dormy, have been on the needles for 15 days. When I film these on Sunday, and I edit them throughout the week when I have time between schoolwork and classes and stuff, and usually they're uploaded on Friday or Saturday. I think I've been doing Saturday lately. But by the time that this video goes up, Halloween will have happened. So if I can remember, I'll have editing Ollie put in whether I was able to finish these socks in time or not. Because honestly, it's a toss-up. Because I think if I want to have them blocked and dried by Halloween, they need to be done being knit by Tuesday and like blocked, like laid out to dry on Tuesday. So, editing Ollie, if you remember, go ahead and put it in, okay? But yeah, I think we'll just move on. Having my camera die, like, lost my flow so much. So apologies if it takes me a second to get back into it. But next up is acquisitions. I don't have any acquisitions this week. Well, okay, so I went ahead and I bought myself my Christmas gift. And I went ahead and I bought myself some Sorella yarn. I know, a little bit pricey, but I bought myself some Sorella yarn because she is for her Rhinebeck collection that I think the pre-order is already closed when I'm filming this, so it's definitely already going to be closed when this is going up. But she's offering sock weight boucle yarn in these colors, and I love these colors, but I was like, oh, but I don't have a project that's small enough that I would want to knit something. And I'm like, I don't really want to buy yarn just so I say that I bought some Sorella yarn and then knit up a pair of socks. But I saw this sock weight boucle, and I was like, that looks like I've always wanted to try boucle, but I haven't had the urge quite yet to try it. So I was like, if I can knit it in a sock and have something that's inconsequential and like non-pressure inducing like a sock is for me, I feel like that'd be really chill to try it out. And it'd also be interesting because sock boucle it knits up differently. I mean, I'll put her picture on here if I can do that. So this is a picture from her Instagram, and you can see like the difference in weight between the sock boucle and the DK boucle. So I went ahead and I bought 2 colors, and those will get delivered in when did it say? It said 6 weeks, so that's like the middle of December, late December. That's why it's my Christmas gift to myself. So I will be back home for Christmas when I get those. So I don't know exactly how podcasts are gonna work when I'm back home, because obviously this is my room, this is my space. I mean, I share the flat with other people, but this is my room, this is my space. So I mean, I have obviously I have my own bedroom at home, but it's like I'm not alone. I'm not alone here, but like my flatmates are all in their room doing their own thing, whereas my parents are like, up and around doing stuff all the time. So I don't know exactly how it's gonna work, but we'll cross that bridge when we get there. But I guess so. I kind of have an acquisition, but I obviously don't. I'm not counting it as an acquisition for this week because I don't have anything to show you, but in like 6 weeks, I will have something to show you, so you can see it when it gets here. So moving on into plans. Obviously, number 1 plan right now is to finish these socks. I'm going to continue working on the leg today. My goal is to finish the leg today, hopefully work on the heel. If not, I'll work on the heel tomorrow because I don't have any classes tomorrow too. And then just keep knitting on the foot, and then Tuesday I'll probably finish it. I mean, it has to be finished by Tuesday, so we'll see how that pans out. We'll see honestly how much I get done today and tomorrow. I don't have any classes, so we'll see. Yeah, if I can finish those socks if I can finish those socks with enough time to spare, I want to jump back on my salty days because I do have a deadline for that. So I do need to get on that. And then I do need to cast on my home, they're for my boyfriend, but they're the home for Christmas socks because I want those definitely by November 27th so that way he can take them home for Christmas because we are not going to be in the same city for Christmas. So he needs to get them from the time he sees me before Christmas so that he can have them for Christmas. So I guess by next week I want to be done with these socks. And I want to at least finish the hem of the salty days and start on the collar. I forgot what this was called for a second, but the collar of the salty days sweater, and then cast on the home for Christmas socks cast on. at least, and working on the ribbing. Obviously, I'm giving myself a whole 27 days to finish those as well, so not quite the rush. Something else that I have been absolutely itching to cast on is, now that I have my needles, my Nova Platina needles, I really want to cast on the Clematis sweater. I am like itching for it, because also I'm going to see Remy Wolf in concert on November 28th, and I think it'd be so cool to wear that sweater to the concert. So I'm like, should I cast it on? But I already have to finish a whole sweater. I mean, it's just the sleeves, really. But I need to finish the sweater, and I need to knit a pair of socks. That's already a lot to get done in 3 weeks. 4 weeks, right? 4 weeks. 4 weeks. That's a lot to get done in 4 weeks. But, like, I could knit. Wouldn't it be so cool if I could have it on and, like, it's also just like a plain, it's just increases. There's no texture or anything like that. It's just increases and decreases. Everything else is just stockinette. I mean, it's not stockinette in the round. It's stockinette back and forth, but it's still mindless. Still, I can zone out. Should I cast it on right now? No. I don't know. Oh, I want to cast it on so bad. I'm just like itching for it. I'm like, oh, I need to cast it on. And then I remember that I have no real like pressing reason other than it would be kind of cool to wear it to the Remy Wolf concert. Because my previous goal date, if you watched my fall knitting plans, was Christmas. That's a full month before. So I don't know. We'll have to see how quickly I can finish the Salty Day sweater. But I guess by the time I finish the Salty Day sweater, I'll have like a week to do it. So it won't happen. I don't know. I need to focus on the two that have like strict deadlines, because the Clematis sweater I can just make for Christmas, but the Salty Days and the Home for Christmas socks have to be with my boyfriend. I don't know. No, I can hold off. We'll see where we're at in a week, but I need to hold off. We'll check in next week. Okay. So this is normally where I would end the video, but I started this YouTube channel to talk about my hobbies, which specifically my current hyperfixation is knitting, but I do have other hobbies and I do have other interests. Like I've said before, I crocheted before. I also have a habit of like collecting like fiber arts hobbies. I know how to felt, I know how to quilt, I know how to sew. I know how to bookbind, which is like a really random skill that I learned during COVID, made my own journals and stuff. But I love hobbies, and I love collecting hobbies like little Pokemon cards. But I mean, I can't do a ton of those in a dorm room, but I do like to talk about my other hobbies, and that's why I started this YouTube channel. And I realized that I had been restricting myself to only talking about knitting, because right now I'm running a knitting podcast. But I decided to start incorporating this thing that name is still workshopping, I think, but for now I'm calling it a hobby huddle. So let's do a hobby huddle, shall we? So I'm going to do 2 segments of this, what I'm watching and what I'm reading, because those are the 2 hobbies that I partake in most often here in my college dorm room. So first off, with what I'm watching, I've finished, like I said in last week's podcast, I was watching The Bear. Since then, I have caught up with The Bear. I don't know if it's done. I haven't done any research on that, whether The Bear is finished or if it's still going. I mean, from where it ended, it looks like it's still going, but I'm caught up on The Bear. I do think it was 100% a character piece, like a character workshop piece. There was obviously plot, but the plot was very slow moving, and it was a lot more character focused, which I enjoy. I'm a big character enjoyer. I love indulging in characters. I love writing characters. I love reading characters. I love watching characters. So I love when stuff is a good character study. So, but since then, I've just been watching a lot of Charlie Barley streams. She's a gaming YouTuber on here. And I mean, I've been watching her since like 2022, I think. And I'm just an avid enjoyer of her. So I've been watching her Papa's streams. Like, she's playing all the Papa's games, like Papa's Freezeria, Sushiria, scooperia, things like that. So I really enjoyed those streams. Just, I love having them on like in the background while I'm knitting and stuff. Obviously, I've been doing a ton of when I can. So next up is like what I'm reading. So I said last week that I had just got the audiobook for Ministry of Time. So actually I wasn't paying attention, and I said I just got it, but turns out 2 out of 3 weeks and my loan had already passed. So I did start it, but my loan ended before I could get more than 20% of the way through the book. So I am going to have to finish that on Spotify, if Spotify has it. Because I have Spotify Premium, so I get like 15 audiobook hours a month. So if they have it, I am going to finish it there. But I did make the rookie mistake of not checking where I was in the book before it returned. So I'm going to have to like blindly click through the chapters and listen to hear if I hear anything familiar. But then I also got my hold for Wrath of the Triple Goddess by Rick Riordan. So I am an avid Percy Jackson lover, have been since I was 11 years old. That's 8 years going, almost 9. That's insane. But I love Percy Jackson. Rick Riordan is such a big inspiration to me as a writer. He is someone that I hope to emulate in that kind of goofy style, where it's like serious but also absurd but also genuine, and it's real, and I just love that. So Rick Riordan is one of my favorite writers ever, and so I've been reading this on my Kindle that my beautiful amazing boyfriend bought me for Christmas last year. So this is my Kindle. This is the cover for Wrath of the Triple Goddess. This is the back that I did for myself. I made this thing on Canva, and I like something that I like to do. I like to name notebooks and electronics that I use every day. So like my laptop, only thing that isn't really named is my phone. I don't have a name for my phone, and I don't know why, but like my laptop is named Logan, my iPad is named Philippa, my Kindle is named Kit. I have a notebook named Maeve, things like that. It's something that I like to do. I think it adds a lot of personality to this kind of inanimate object that you use every single day, and it is a big part of your life, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like it deserves a name. So I named my Kindle Kit, and I made this background on Canva, which is like all these like stamp elements that they had. And then I bought this little stand thing that does this, so that you can kind of like stand like that on a table. And I did put like a MagSafe sticker, so it takes a little bit of effort, but it pops right off. So that way that can be completely flat. It just pops right back on. And then if I'm not standing on a table, this is a pop socket. So again, ignore my nail polish. But this is just a pop socket. And this is a limited edition MXM Tune pop socket. She's a music artist that I love and have loved since 8th grade, since I was a wee babe. I was 13 years old listening to her music. So that is 6 years going on 7. And I got to see her a couple years ago, and at the show she was selling these limited edition pop sockets, which I always thought was kind of random, and it just sat on my desk until I finally got a Kindle, and I was like, because I don't like pop sockets on my phone, because I love that my phone can like lay flat on a table. I don't really care so much about a Kindle. But yeah, I've been reading Wrath of the Triple Goddess. Let me check how far the way. I'm currently 23% into the book. I think the cover is so cool. And I'm fully aware that this trilogy, the senior year adventures, are unnecessary. And do they read as unnecessary? Yeah, they do. They do read as unnecessary. But am I sitting here and enjoying it nonetheless because we get to see Percy in low stakes adventures where he's just living his best life with Annabeth and Grover? Again, still action-packed because they're little quests and stuff. If you don't know, the whole point of this trilogy is that Percy Jackson is trying to get into college, and he needs recommendation letters from the gods. And even though he saved the world a number of times, they won't give him recommendation letters unless he does more quests for them. So this is the second quest that he needs to do to get a second recommendation letter, 2 out of 3, hence the trilogy. But yeah, I'm enjoying it so far. It is a little goofy, it is a little silly, it is a little bit, I don't know what the word is, but it's like a little bit clear that it's maybe possibly like a cash grab. But again, I'm sitting here eating it up. Do I care? No, because what does it mean? More Percy. So, yeah. That's what I'm reading currently. I will check back in next week, and that was all I wanted to do, was just start adding on a little hobby huddle. Maybe not every week, but every now and then, just to kind of check in what I'm reading, what I'm watching, and if I'm doing any other craft hobbies that don't fit in like knitting. Like I'm getting the supplies to make my Joe Cool costume, so maybe next week I'll update you guys on how I made the sweater. But yeah, so let me know what you guys think about that. Maybe tell me what you guys are reading or watching or knitting in the comments. I know that I love to watch knitting podcasts while I'm also knitting. It just brings the good energy and the good vibes for me. But what do you guys like to do when you're watching knitting podcasts? Am I something that you watch while knitting? Am I something that you just stumbled upon and you stuck around for a little? Or are you my boyfriend and you're just watching this while you're doing other things because you're a real one? Yeah, tell me all about it in the comments. But other than that, I think I'm out of things to say. Again, sorry that my camera died halfway through, so I lost my groove and I lost my flow. I always think of that scene from Emperor's New Groove where it's like, you threw off my groove. Side note, Emperor's New Groove is one of the best movies ever made. I love Emperor's New Groove. Anyways, I think that's all for me. I think that just about does it. I think I'm out of things to say for this week, at least. And, thank you guys for hanging out with me, and you know what time it is. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. And if you did, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, maybe even turn on the notification bell so you can get notified when I post more videos just like this one. I don't know. Maybe. But anyways, thank you guys so much for watching and hanging out with me. The fact that there's so much stuff for you to watch on YouTube and you choose to stick it out here with me means the world. And I'm very appreciative. So thank you guys once again. How many times can I say it? Anyways, you know what time. Oh my god, this is so messy. I lost my groove so bad. Anyways, go out, be kind, seize the day, and savor your happiness. Bye, y'all. I feel like I could redo that outro, but that was organic. That was real. We're here for the nitty-gritty of it all. The experience. The raw emotion. Okay, bye.